In today's world, risk doesn't announce itself. It hides in plain sight. That's where Brosnan Consulting Services comes in. Founded by industry veteran Patrick J. Brosnan, we provide risk advisory and protective intelligence solutions for individuals, corporations, and institutions that can't afford uncertainty. From due diligence and investigative consulting to strategic intelligence and protection planning, we help you see threats before they become problems. When experience matters and discretion is essential, trust Brosnan Consulting Services. Visit brosnaninvestigative.com to learn more.
Pat Brosnan, live from the Batcave, brings together America's foremost voices in law enforcement, intelligence, and national security for hard-hitting, fact-based analysis on crime, homeland security, and domestic counterterrorism. A highly decorated former NYPD detective and national security expert, Brosnan brings razor-sharp perspective and battlefield-tested insight to every conversation. For over 20 years, Pat Brosnan has been a trusted presence on Fox News, Fox Business, Newsmax, CNN, MSNBC, and Inside Edition. Uncompromising, unflinching, unblinking.
From the streets of New York to the stages of Hollywood, this is a conversation you don't want to miss. Today on the show, Pat sits down with legendary entertainer, actor, and Saturday Night Live icon, Joe Piscopo. They talk comedy, culture, politics, media, and the evolution of America's entertainment machine. From Sinatra to SNL to today. Real stories, real opinions, no filters. Let's get into it.
Pat Brosnan live from the Batcave, located 30 feet underground somewhere in Gotham, an undisclosed location. I have here today a very special guest, one of my heroes, a mentor, and a Renaissance man on every level. And I've been looking forward to this one for a while, folks. So joining me now this morning is somebody you've all known for decades. Everybody knows him as a Saturday Night Live legend, one of the guys who helped carry that show when it was fearless, when it was raw, and when it was actually funny. That's only part of who this guy is. First of all, Joe is a lifelong gym rat. He's a gym animal, same as myself, except he's always been in great shape. He's disciplined forever, taking care of himself long before it was fashionable, ladies and gentlemen. And that tells you something right out of the gate. And Joe, he's also a genuine patriot. He loves this country. His respect for the flag knows no bounds. He respects history and never, ever wavers. And let me say this clearly. He has enormous and unwavering respect for the men and women in blue. He believes in the rule of law, backs law enforcement without hesitation, and he understands what it takes to stand the line when others won't. That matters to me, and it should matter to you. He's a son of New Jersey, no doubt, but he's also a son of New York in every way that counts. He's street smart, he's sharp, he's resilient, he's funny, a great dad, a great broadcaster, an author, a thinker, and a true Renaissance man. In an industry that chews people up, this guy stayed standing, physically, mentally, and morally. But I will stand. He's a pretty tough guy to knock down, so he had big leverage. He's both a legend and he's legendary. Are you ready? He's an Iron Man in a wooden car, a mentor to me and a great friend. Joining me this morning, live from the Batcave, He bears no introduction, Mr. Joe Piscopo. Good morning, Joe.
Pat, how are you? You look great, man. I love this setup. Congratulations on the show, brother. Thank you for your kind words. Oh my gosh, I'm humbled, you know? I really am humbled. I set myself up, you know, I got a new iPhone today. I got these, see, it's orange. Frank Sinatra's favorite color, please. Thank you very much. But I was gonna zoom on this and come to you. I'll do it, but now, so I'm a little precarious. So if I lose you, I'm picking you right up. You know what? Frank Sinatra said, you know, you got to pick yourself up and get back in the race. That's what I'm going to do with this video if it goes down.
I love it, Joe. And if you have any problems with that new iPhone, I want you to call me directly and I'll put you in touch with customer service. Because if you have any problems with your A-Track, I'm the L-Track guy.
I know. Listen,
It's so clear.
can I tell you something? You and I, and thank you for so much. It's great to see it. Everything, I'm so tech savvy and I love it. And everything, something new comes out, I got to grab it. They don't refine it when they release it, man. You know that. It's like, and then I talked about the radio this morning on AM 970, where my daughter, Olivia, she's so cute. I look over here, I see a book that says, What I Love About Dad, when she was like 6. And she wrote all the nice things. You know, you're a great father, you're a great grandfather, you know, when they write the thing. But now she writes the things that I blurt out. And one of the things I blurted out recently was, Apple is a criminal organization. And she writes. She started writing all these quotes. Like, I don't even think I was saying it. But, you know, and I don't know that Apple's a criminal organization, but they should really it's not so much Apple as Google. Google is the real bad guy there, in my opinion. So here, I think we're set, and I think we're going to try to be all right.
All I can say, Joe, I couldn't agree more. They make it absolutely impossible to figure things out. I mean, that's just the way it is. It's way beyond me. I don't dare even crack the cellophane on the instructions and make believe I can figure it out. I just call someone who's 30 years younger. I hand it to them and they give it back to me. Call me with any questions. I will connect you with customer service.
You got it, man. I'm trying to hold up. Looks like it's holding up now. Hey, you look great, man. Congratulations on the new show. This is very exciting. And you're really, you know, on the air when we talk, you're really great when we have our conversations. And you really got, you know, energy, and you're very thorough, and I appreciate it. You're really good at this, you know, at this media thing, man. And so I congratulate you. We're proud to have you over at Salem, New York, man. So, you know, it's big, and now you're doing the video. By the way, I felt comfortable enough that we know each other enough that I didn't put a suit and tie on, right? And that I could, and for you, I got the NYPD hat, baby, right there. And this is the one from the 9/11 memorial hat that I put on you for you today, my friend. And then
let me tell you, Joe, they don't get better than you. And I'll be very frank with you. And this is something that the listeners should know. I got my start in radio from none other than Joe. I had been doing Fox for 20 years, bloviating Irishman for 20 years, back from the Washington, the sniper, father, son, you know, but I was always the guest, right? Yeah, for the host. But as a guest with Joe under Brutal Facts with Pat Brosnan, we did it for a couple of years on Friday mornings. I really cut my teeth a bit in radio, and I learned I really like it, and I can interrupt the guests at my leisure. Very cool, although I don't. So, Joe, I got to thank you. It's honestly, you're a mentor. You're someone I looked up to in the industry, and I'm learning at your knee, and I'm paying attention. I'm taking notes. Not going to be good enough to fix the phone, but on other things, I feel okay.
You do it so good on it, man. And, you know, we look to you now during these crazy times, you know, and you always have a great take on everything. So it's great. And then I'm trying to get the date together with Chaz and with a couple other buddies that Chaz probably ready to come down to the Batcave bed to where you are. No one will ever find you. You're in an undisclosed location.
30 feet underground at an undisclosed location in Gotham. I would love to have yourself and Chaz Palminteri here. Listen, I'll create a bullets and pasta night. We'll shoot some guns. The Irishman will cook some pasta. We'll have a lot of laughs, tell some lies. We'll, you know, kind of make up some cool stories and whatever. We'll have an amazing night. That's going to happen, by the way. That's going to happen. But, you know, Joe, we have chatted in previous days, 10 long days, 220 hours to be exact, since the horrific, terrifying, and completely baffling abduction of Nancy Guthrie. So I'm going to start with the amazing development this afternoon.
Yeah.
Wow, wow, wow. You talk about a grand slam home run. Finally, 41 seconds of video and the composite stills associated with that. Direct video, Joe, of the animal, and I hate to insult animals, the animal who abducted an 84-year-old grandmother while she was fast asleep at 2 in the morning. I don't even know what type of hell exists for these type of savages and this type of barbarism. Wherever it is, I hope they go there real quick. I gotta say, you know what never ceases to amaze me is the level of stupidity these criminal masterminds. Thank God. They really are low functioning. Because the mask that he was wearing actually doesn't hide him. It actually exposes him. In 2026, it exposes him. Now, in 1996, and likely in 2006, it would have provided a level of anonymity, but not in 2026. This is when the technology catches up to the bad guys. And thank God, because through that mask, we were able to ascertain the distance between his eyes, the shape of his eye sockets, the curvature of his mouth, and the mustache line.
Wow.
These factors are fixed by bone and by muscle. They're a fingerprint. They're no different
2 minutes.
facial fingerprint, Joe. And that is only the beginning. And thank God it's 2026. Because like the Roadrunner, this is when the Roadrunner catches Wile E. Coyote, right? Finally catches up to him. You know? These bad guys, they can wear gloves. They can wear full-face masks, sunglasses, a hat. They could put covers on their shoes to hide their footprint. But you can't hide how you walk. No way, brother. His stride, arm swing, and his body mechanics. By the way, it's captured, as I'm sure you saw on the 41 seconds of video, 270 degrees. You have this knucklehead coming at us to the door with the semi-automatic, by the way, in a revolver holster. That's a fashion no-no. We'll come back to that. And I mean, we might have covered it with their low functioning, but put that aside for a second. But what he does is he turns around and he walks away. So he turns to his right, he walks away, and we get to see 270 degrees of this guy. We see how he walks and looks from the rear, how he looks from the right side, and how he looks as approaches. That, my friend, is one big, beautiful fingerprint. Now, time becomes the weapon. Nancy Guthrie is the important piece of this puzzle. Identifying him is only the bridge to her rescue. Sorry, focus on that. So now we have to move at warp speed. Her life hangs in the balance. Real money, Joe, has to go on the table. First, it started at $2,500. I thought I misread it as the reward for the first 72 hours. I don't know who put that up. This reward has to be about $500,000, ideally $1 million. And the people who recognize and know that face and know that walk will give him up by sundown. Cash moves the needle, brother. Tell me, what are your thoughts, Joe? We've been consumed by this for 230 hours.
It's you know what, I feel so bad because the lady was 84 years old. Who does that to an 84-year-old? What coward? And you're absolutely right. What animal would do it? And then I just saw the video. The guy's clumsy. The gloves, you want to wear. I mean, the Pink Panther had better gloves. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And what law enforcement is saying, and you know it better than anybody, is the walk up to it. But I was not aware of when you wear ski masks like that. It reminded me of Munich in '72. It's just nauseating how these people probably watch all the bad things that happen around the world, and they think they're going to be some evil hero. This guy is a knucklehead, a coward, and a punk, for crying out loud.
Absolutely. And it's funny. I didn't know, Joe. I actually didn't know until fairly recent with the Luigi Mangione, the other punk, in Midtown. I didn't realize that one of the many great things that the former greatest commissioner in history, Ray Kelly, did was he put in the domain awareness system in New York City in conjunction with Microsoft. He put in some facial technology and recognition software. It's unbelievable, which is how we got Mangione and how we're going to get this animal. And it's absolutely amazing how the technology is finally on the right side of the ledger.
That's true. Did Ray Kelly put that stuff in? I should know. Right?
He spearheaded. He spearheaded the domain awareness system which is beyond, really futuristic at the time. And he brought in Gates and some really smart folks. And that's why we have such a great city and such a safe city.
Yeah, so what happened? They went down to a couple doors down immediately today, as we speak. Anyway, they went a couple doors down. Pat, do they know? They probably know who the guy is already, right? You think?
Joe, I refuse to second guess in a material way law enforcement. I do. I think the sheriff is in over his head. I do. I think that's a bittersweet irony of living in an affluent area where there's very little serious crime. So the police never really get to test their strengths in terms of investigating crimes because there are no crimes to investigate. So you could be a 20-year detective there and maybe never, ever have investigated an armed robbery.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
just by nature of living in a really nice area. So I don't assign blame and I don't second guess and I don't Monday morning quarterback. But I will say an 84-year-old woman who came home around 10 o'clock, probably went to bed by 10:30, was deep in a REM sleep in her bedroom when
That's the worst.
vicious criminals took her out of her bed at gunpoint. As we learned today, there is a gun, in fact. I'm surprised she survived the incredible shock of that.
You think?
I'd have a heart attack.
I know, nah, man. You know what? But do you think? I mean, I hate to say it, and I hope she's still there with us. And it's breaking so quickly. But what do you think, Pat? I mean, the longer it is, the lesser the chance that she's alive. But maybe she is. Maybe this knucklehead has her in a basement somewhere or something.
I got to say, Joe, this has been an extremely baffling case. None of it really adds up. It just doesn't square up. I don't know if it was a burglary gone bad, home invasion gone bad, a hunt for maybe a safe, perhaps, that was somehow in mythological in some way that it was communicated to the bad guys that, the daughter's very wealthy, the mother has money, we don't know. We don't know. But if they were in that home, as the evidence supports, for 41 minutes, that's a full Netflix show, right? 44 minutes. Well, that's a full show. That's long. That's a terrifying length of time. Yeah. I mean, I do not understand it. The ransom requests make no sense. Listen, there's only 4 reasons for major crimes. As you know, we've discussed it. There's love, there's hate, there's lust, and there's cash. So in this case, I think we boil it down to revenge and cash. So where's the request? Where's a cohesive, intelligent, a cohesive and logical request for the cash? It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I can't figure it out, man. Evil is out there, baby. And I don't know how you did it all those years in the Bronx, man. You were in the toughest areas. You were during the crack time. That crack time, that was like nuts, but you handled it. But I don't, and we always take, when we go do my radio show, on the station here on AM 970, we try to take the high road. We're always taking the high road. We try to stay positive. But I see, even in politics, and this was frustrating for me, Pat, in politics, for example, they want to pass the SAVE Act, which is voter identification. And like 80+% of Americans want voter identification when you go to the polls. But the Democrats, and I'm an old Democrat, for Essex County, man, old blue dog Democrat, I'm an independent now. Right. They want to block the SAVE Act. They block it because they want people coming in without licenses in sanctuary states that can vote randomly as illegals. That's what they want. We say, you know what that is? That's evil. Who's that evil? And I see, and if I can get political, can I get political here on this show?
Please. How about it?
With Chuck Schumer, Chuck Schumer, the way he's like the penguin, he's like, this is miserable guy, and he was not always like that. And Hakeem Jeffries and all the Democrats, they want to put down the SAVE Act. And this too, if I may pontificate for a second, Pat, what's happening in Minneapolis. Yeah, I've been saying this. You and I, when and you learn this, when you're on the media, if you repeat it enough, and then if you say the theory enough or what the solution is enough, people will start to hear it. And in Minneapolis, they go in to get the bad guys out. and they went to Memphis, and they went to a litany of other cities with ICE. But they go to Minneapolis. Minneapolis has a corruption problem. So what are they going to do with this, with the Somali, population there? So what are they going to do? Oh, they're gonna go up against ICE, and that the ICE thing is a shiny object they put up there, right? They put up there, and of course something's going to happen. They allow people to go up. This poor girl, Renee Good, gets shot and killed. This guy, Preddy, gets shot and killed. I think Preddy was it was suicide by cop. That guy's loaded with 2 clips and a military style weapon with a pistol. That guy wanted to be off, in my opinion. Rest his soul, by the way. It's a terrible situation. Both of them should be alive. And they would be if Jacob Fry, the mayor, if Tim Walz, the governor, allowed the police to do their job. They didn't even let the cops out there. That's evil. That's evil. It permeates. It permeates. And you and I, that's what's great about being on the radio, man. People will listen, and it's an intimate connection that we have with the audience that you learn so quickly, Pat Brosnan. But I'm telling you what, we have a chance to quash the evil. And this guy, what goes around comes around. These punks think they're going to get away with it, man. This guy walking up like that, taking an 84-year-old lady, that guy should have the death sentence. They shouldn't even think about it once they catch this guy. Am I right?
I'm right, brother. Let me tell you, my advice stands. If you're armed with a weapon and you aggressively approach law enforcement and you ignore their commands to stand down and relinquish your weapon, you are putting your life in peril. That's how it works. That's what the laws are there for.
Right.
That's why the police officers are trained and issued handguns.
Yes,
Just for that exact reason, for that threat.
that's right.
This guy, I think it was very similar to a suicide by cop. And if you look at some of his historical behavior, it certainly supports this.
Thank you.
Completely out of hand.
No one's talking about it. And so now they get that narrative. And I learned this only from being on the radio for over 10 years. They get that narrative out there. See, now they got, and then you got the evil that was in the political parties down in Washington on the Democratic side. And they use that. And they use that. Now, what does it do? It takes the eye off of the corruption. But Donald Trump's too smart. He knows they're too smart. And he's
So a head fake, Joe, it's the ultimate head fake, right? Look here and dread of here. So right.
But
Pull it away from the corruption that's absolutely polluting that state. And every so often I'll wake up in a nightmare and I'll have been dreaming that not only was the cackler Kamala Harris have the keys to the kingdom, somehow became the president, which was close, but that guy, the gym teacher, that fool, as the second set of keys to the kingdom. You imagine what America would be like if those knuckleheads had the keys to the kingdom.
Pat Brosnan, my dear friend, we would have lost the country. And what people don't say, and it's nice that we could talk like this, frankly, on the radio. We're 250 years old. Wow, 250 years old. Like I say on my radio show every morning, we're in infancy. It's not we're in our adolescence. We are in infancy. We're a baby. If you go to Europe, a sidewalk is older than America is. Really, there are thousands of years. 250, we could go like that. Like that, you could.
They have shoes in Italy that are 200 years old. I mean, it's true. Yeah, we're the baby. It'll be but it's absolutely true. And I mean, you look at the woman who was running up on him with the car. Okay. Trying to run him down with the vehicle, supported by both eyewitnesses, ear witnesses, corroborative videotape. What precisely would they have had the officer do? Mace the car? Swing his baton at the car? Command the car to stop? Issue a directive? There's no option. And again, that's what officers are trained in, the use of deadly physical force when there's an imminent threat to their life or the life of a third party. Well, it's clear. Supreme Court has reaffirmed and affirmed and then reaffirmed again. And that's just the way it is. There's not an option. You can't check a box and say, today I've decided not to obey commands from federal agents relative to an ongoing federal investigation. Today I'm going to change. You don't have it. It's always obey. Always. And it's unbelievable. It really, really is. It's something else what's going on.
Well, again, that Tim Walz and Jacob Fry and Keith Ellison's right in the middle of it, the Attorney General, they didn't allow the police to do what they do. Now the cops are there. Now it's settled down. But I love what Donald Trump did, where he goes in and he kind of dumbs it down for them. He knows exactly what's going on. He knows it's all just some kind of a game. They play a game with lives. They don't care. He goes, I'll send Tom Homan in. I'll send, some Bobina home, and then I'll send Tom Homan in. And he settled it down. Oh, well, he's giving in. No, he's playing you for, I'm going to say it. I don't want to disrespect the president, but he's playing them for the unaware people that they are. Let me be nice like that, And and these
Polite, Joe. Unaware is a compliment in this
I
context.
don't want to say stunads, but you know what I mean? They, when they just forget about it with these people. Come on.
But with Director Holman, listen. Our great president plays four-dimensional chess.
That's right.
With no comparison to anyone else. This is just a perfect example of it. And I liked and enjoyed watching Director Holman's modified tone.
He's great.
He came in somewhat conciliatory. He didn't back down in any way. I've had the pleasure of meeting him a few times. That is not in his DNA. He was able to manage the silliness, manage the outrage, and still get the job done. And that's the trick.
It's so true, man. And the fact that is that crime all throughout America is the lowest it's been in decades. It's a funny story. I think you know this. When the president was kind enough to call my show, so I think you know the story. But I said to him, because I always help out at-risk kids. I've been doing that my whole life, going to stressed areas in Newark and Camden. I walked the streets when Camden was the most dangerous city in America. And the gangsters let me walk the streets. They thought I was nuts, but I was helping the nonprofits and the Boys and Girls Clubs, and we were doing all good things like that. So we were down there. So now I get the president on the phone, and I'm talking to him on the radio. I go, Mr. President, do you ever think of a presidential intercity task force? And then he lets it go. And I know him 100 years. So I didn't catch his ear maybe. And so I go around again, in the few minutes that I chatted with him. And this, inner city task force would be great. Presidential inner city task force will bring in jobs, will mentor the children, and he lets it go. And we talk taxes, we talk Columbus Day, and he does something about the taxes, but he doesn't come back. Lo and behold, like in a matter of weeks, he's sending the National Guard into Washington, D.C. He thinks of things, you put the idea in his mind, and then you never know how it's going to come out. And he went right to the heart of the matter. I'm like an old liberal. I'm a bleeding heart liberal. Well, we'll mentor the children, Mr. President. We'll go in. We'll give them jobs. I said this on here. It'll take about 10 years, 20 years. Donald Trump goes, I'm sending the guard in. And he cleaned it up in like 3 days, man. That's that. You got to appreciate that. You got
to love it. You got to love it. You absolutely have to. As I've said before, and I'll say again, I do believe he's Batman. I honestly do. I've asked a bunch of friends of mine, and I said, have you ever seen Bruce Wayne and Donald Trump in a show at the same time? Simultaneously. No one has ever seen them in the same room at the same time. So I am convinced that our great president is also Batman, the benevolent billionaire. I got to tell you what he's done for this country, Joe. We could be on here, and we'd be growing Rip Van Winkle beards by the time we're done.
Yeah, no, so you have to appreciate it. And also people say, oh, there's Piscopo, he's a Trump guy. I've known him for so many years. And I just have to look to your point, to go into your point of Kamala Harris and Tim Walton, you would have lost the country. You would have lost it because you have to see, it's exciting to be able to talk about this. It's on the geopolitical stage. And I really get so excited about this stuff. I'm obsessed. I get up in the morning, like you become before the microphone. It's a big responsibility because the folks kind enough to listen to us now, you have to respect that, but you got to know your stuff, man. And nobody knows this stuff better than Pat Brosnan when it comes to law enforcement. So when I think on a geopolitical stage, and we have all the experts on General Jack Keane or KT McFarland or somebody like that on a world stage, the way the president went into Venezuela, he protected, and I find this out from our guests, from KT, goes, it's the Western Hemisphere he wants to protect. From who? From China. It's brilliant. I didn't even think about it. And you think that Walsh or Kamala Harris would even thought about that? They would all get away. Look what Obama did with Iran. With $400 billion, whatever it was, $400 million he gave in, and the president goes in, takes Iran out. Iran's about to crumble in our lifetime, Pat. This is huge. But the problem is, all they care about, they're using ice. I hope it doesn't reverberate for the midterms, because once they get into the midterms, and if we lose the midterm, we, meaning the Patriots, then it's going to be a problem with the president. But And maybe people will come, to their senses and, because there is that evil down there and it does seep through. And there's a lot of people who are what we call useful idiots, and that's a political term. That's not a derogatory term. That's a political term. They're useful idiots like Stalin called them. He just used them. You use them. They're being used in Minneapolis and in Washington, D.C. Useful idiots galore. And they don't even know what they're owned, bought and sold by China. They don't even realize it. It's nice we could talk like we really feel on the show, right, man?
I think the vast majority are clueless on it, and I think it's an appropriate term. I know it's an appropriate term.
Right.
That's exactly right. And if we lose the midterms, wow. Well, we got to keep fingers crossed. Listen, this is a guy who did more in the first 45 days with executive orders. Yeah. Just executive orders alone. Yep. Right? He kept coming down the chimney. Again, another metaphor. Yeah. But he's not Batman. He's Santa Trump. I've said on your show, he keeps coming down that chimney, even now in early February, with the coolest gifts, the shiniest gifts, the newest gifts. Yeah. What are they wrapped in, Joe? Yeah. The executive orders. Everyone. And no president is even remotely close. And by the way, what do we have left? 35 months. 35 months.
That's right.
Right? Your terms are going to be critical. They're going to be critical. So fingers crossed, and prayers, and let's hope that common sense prevails.
You're right. Hey, are you okay? You okay? Can I tell you something which is really great? I don't know if you wanted a break or not. You good? Everything good? We're going.
Come on, I could do this for hours.
So I last night I go to this was I didn't even know. I just got asked. I did the story on the morning show today. They go, hey Joe, could you come out to Long Island? 2 hours away. Come out, and we're doing a whole big thing. And I don't know what it was. Maybe you could do a half hour, something like that. Joey benefit. You got a charity. I got a tuxedo. I come early. I stay late. What am I going to tell you? Joey benefit, So I go. So I take the 2 hour trip out to Long Island. It's the best political rally I've ever seen. Pat, best political. It's for Bruce Blakeman running against Kathy Hochul and Joe Cairo out there, Nassau County. Yeah. And they had Suffolk County, Hempstead, all those guys out there. And we had the best time. And then Lee Zeldin showed up. Lee Zeldin got up. Yeah, he got up because, everybody loves Lee in Long Island. And he goes up there and he speaks. And then Bruce Blakeman got up. And then Mr. Cairo brings up me. I close, no pressure. I close the whole thing. They go, okay, you're on. So we did New York. The room was jammed. I mean, power and passion like I've never seen. And I'm singing, gosh, this is good. We're here. We're where we have to be. Right there at the Garden City Hotel, out there in Long Island.
I do. And it's funny. I had a similar epiphany. I'll tell you a quick one. I've gotten friendly with a retired detective, the only one ever to go to Congress. His name is Anthony D'Esposito.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. He was a detective for 14 years in Brooklyn. We get on like a house on fire. And the fact is, Anthony is now the Inspector General for the Department of Labor. He may or may not go back into Congress. Yeah. But I went out for a benefit out there. I met Steve Scalise, Nick Loder, Bruce Blakeman.
They are.
I tell you, Long Island is well named. Long Island is well named, my friend.
I'm telling you, I said, the first thing I said like on stage is that, could you come to New Jersey, please? Could you help get this enthusiasm to New Jersey? Because we lost Jersey, we lost Virginia. We lost California. But I walked out as I was finished. I walked out, and then there were the Nassau County Police Department, and they were all, decked out. Security was real tight. And I looked at those guys, and they looked great. So, and I was with my friend Stacy, and she took a great picture. I posted it, with proudly with the Nassau County Police Department. But I got to tell you, these guys, they look like you, Pat Brosnan. Handsome. They were loaded, man. That's what we need. Because when I go to Italy, I said, you guys, they reminded me of the Carabinieri, the police in Italy. Those guys are so handsome, those guys. Yeah, I'm talking about it with Debbie Duhane this morning. They got the little beards, and they look like little models out there. I said, that Nassau County Police Department, they look like those Italian police, man. It was good.
Yeah, let me tell you, the guys in your home state, the Jersey State Police.
Yeah, baby.
They have the look.
You got it. What?
They have great uniforms. They're all in shape. Right? It's about deterrence. It's about the bad guy thinking twice.
You enjoy
a trooper.
There's something to that. And we appreciate it. And the New Jersey State Police are great. Colonel Pat Callahan, my dear friend, just stepped away. And we got a new guy in there that's going to be great. He's very close to the colonel. But when I talked to the colonel, he would come on the show. What I didn't realize, what you realize, when you're in the Bronx and you're in the NYPD, Pat Brosnan, the layering of the state police, New York police, state police, all the troopers, it's white collar crime, it's gun running. Not to admit, they think they just pull over people on the turnpike. It's so much more than that, you know? Huh?
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, you love it, Joe. I didn't know Pat Callahan was a buddy. I got an award with Pat out in Queens a couple of years ago, and all the Queens went.
Yeah.
And he was behind me. I got the award first. And I went up and I said, listen, I'm going to be brief. And about 20 minutes later, I was still talking about duct tape and I could use it for everything. So Callahan, who didn't know me, but since we become buddies, he comes up. He crushed me. He wrote, it was beautiful. He said, so I'm waiting for Brosnan. He goes, my salad got hot. My soup got cold. They had to bring the jaws of life in to pull him off the stage. It was priceless. He crushed me for roasting. I love the guy. He's an absolute rock star.
He really is, man. So we salute the New Jersey State Police, man. And the cops in New York are looking good too. A lot of those young guys and girls walking the streets, man. It's just, it's a scary time. You just don't know. And the problem is, as we talk law enforcement with you, Pat Brosnan, on your great show here, there's no consequences, man. There's no consequences. It's like when you and I, we were growing up, what did we worry about? Your dad smacking you, and I love my father, my hero, but you didn't want to mess with your parents. Once they laid down the law when we were kids, but now there's no consequences. And like with this guy, going back to what we're talking about with the Nancy Guthrie, the abductor. Well, this guy, what's the impetus of this guy doing it? Because we make them all like stars, and we make the evil in Minnesota, for example. They're not protesters, they're insurrectionists. It's not nothing. You think January 6th was an insurrection? It's happening right before our eyes in Minnesota, for crying out loud. And a lot of the times in Seattle. So these people, there's no consequences. You know this, right? When you locked somebody up, Pat Brosnan, back in your day, what did you do? You locked them the heck up. Am I right or wrong?
I've got to be careful with the statute of limitations. Let's just say I didn't suffer fools gladly, Joe. But there's no bigger fan of the greatest police department on planet Earth, New York's finest, and appropriately named, than myself, and quite likely yourself.
Yes.
So I had to bring in the New Jersey police, and I had to bring in the Nassau guys, because it's all law enforcement. It's the men and women that go out there, willing to take a bullet for a complete stranger. And let me tell you something, no one's overpaid. Let's be crystal clear. No one is overpaid. Okay, it's insanity how poorly paid.
On Long Island, I had a kid that worked with me, and I think you probably met him. Great, what a great kid, Big Mike. And he wanted to be a cop. So I remember I had to meet Ray Kelly, and Ray looked at the kid and he goes, that kid's a cop, because he walked like a cop. He just felt like he could be in law enforcement. So I said, you want to go to New York? I can introduce you to some people. And he said, no, he went in Jersey now because for some reason, you know the answer, Long Island, the guys on Long Island, law enforcement on Long Island and in Jersey, I think they're paid higher than the elite NYPD. It's new. You got it. I don't want to even hear it. I don't want to hear defund the police. They should be given what they want. And we worked with Vincent Bellawong, the head of the Sergeants Benevolent Association.
Sure, of course.
And Vincent came on our show, and they were gonna. I said, what's up? The sergeants aren't getting paid anything, man. He goes, in the NYPD. I'm going like, what? I said, what? Tell me that again. He goes, the sergeants. So Eric Adams at the time was holding him up a little bit, and sure enough, Adams stepped to the table, and they got him the raise. So that's where I have it with me. I got a nice badge from the Sergeants Benevolent Association, the SBA.
Well done.
But they deserve to be paid, these people.
Yeah, that's a real sore point. Touching that is touching a third rail.
Yeah.
The NYPD, and then you take a quieter agency, and the delta between the salaries is significant.
Yeah.
But, listen, you still get to be, as I always say, at a front row seat, Joe, get the best show in town, and they'd hang you for it. I would have done it for free, for zero, for zilch. Because that's the whole floor business, and I was making about the same amount of shekels in the floor. 3 minutes. Yeah. I honestly would have. I mean, wow. Yeah, no, I absolutely loved it.
You see that?
I got to tell you, and I love the hat.
At the 9/11, never forget.
Joe, 25 years coming up. 25, 7 months or 6 months from now. 25, 2.5 decades have gone.
Unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. And I would like to touch on that as well. But we're going to be coming up against the break.
Okay.
So I'm going to move off, folks. And basically, we're going to be right back with Joe Piscopo, none other than Joe. And this is Pat Brosnan live from the Batcave, 30 feet underground, some undisclosed location in Gotham, never to be revealed. So stand by, folks, and we will be right back.
Is your organization prepared for today's technology and security challenges? At CMS Technology Partners, we deliver customized, best-of-breed solutions that protect your people, your property, and your peace of mind. From AI camera vision and real-time threat detection to advanced mobile weapon screening and X-ray imaging systems, we help you stay ahead of evolving threats without replacing your entire system. Plus, our expert team builds secure, scalable IT infrastructure, network and cloud solutions designed to fit your exact needs. With over 20 years of experience, CMS Technology Partners brings the technology, service, and support your business deserves. Visit callcms.com to see how we can strengthen your security and tech, so you can focus on what matters most.
When the storm hits or when your trees need serious care, you call O'Sullivan Tree Care. O'Sullivan Tree Care is a fully licensed and insured family-owned company, proudly serving Rockland County, Westchester County, and New Jersey. Their experienced team handles it all: tree removals, precision pruning, stump grinding, crane work, and emergency storm cleanup. Fast, safe, and professional. When severe weather strikes, O'Sullivan Tree Care responds when it matters most, clearing dangerous trees, restoring access, and protecting homes and properties. They also supply high-quality mulch and screen topsoil available for pickup or delivery. You call, they haul. What sets O'Sullivan Tree Care apart is reliability under pressure. When others step back, their crew steps forward. Experienced, equipped, and ready to work in the toughest conditions. So whether you're dealing with storm damage, downed trees, or routine property maintenance, make the call to the team you can trust. O'Sullivan Tree Care, 845-359-8733. That's 845-359-8733. O'Sullivan Tree Care, where quality meets reliability and the job gets done right.
Joe, welcome back. Let's take a quick trip down memory lane. Take us back to the early 90s. But New York was brutal.
Yeah.
Murders, crack, chaos, right? I like to say I was there for the opening day of crack, which is kind of like Major League Baseball. I ascribe it to St. Patrick's Day, but there's really no rhyme or reason to that. But let's face it, the city was completely out of control. It was madness. And this is the time that you were coming into the city for Saturday Night Live. What did New York City feel like day to day during that time, Joe?
Well, I got to tell you, man, and you're being very kind. I did. You ready for this? The late 70s. Talk about bad. When I first went in, it was 1976. I got out of college. I've been a catatonic stupor. I could have been a lawyer like my dear father. I didn't know what that could do. I'm doing
a catatonic stupor, nonetheless.
You know what I mean? And then I said, let me try this comedy thing. So I go to the improvisation on 9th Avenue at 44th. Not the Hell's Kitchen, when Hell's Kitchen was Hell's Kitchen. And it was dangerous, and it was in disarray. You couldn't walk 42nd Street. It was pre-Giuliani. And it was, we would walk. I would park on 10th Avenue on 44th. I'd park, and you used to have to carry a bat with you just to walk a block up to the comedy club. And then I remember once I walked up, and there was what you guys do with the body outline. They did the body outline.
Right.
I'm walking by, I'm looking at the body outline. I go, okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Be careful when you leave the club tonight. It was like, I'm telling you, it was so dangerous. We couldn't go. Me, Gilbert Gottfried, Larry David, Jerry Seinfeld was there. And we'd have Rodney Dangerfield would come in, Danny Aiello would come in, Bette Midler would come in. It was like they had this little dive club, 44th and 9th, where I cut my teeth, man. And I went in there. But I remember me and Larry David one time distinctly remember where he goes, I want to get a sandwich. And Larry would say, he goes, will you walk with me to Smilers? Smilers was the deli across the street. You couldn't go out by yourself before, again, pre-Giuliani. So, and then we would go from Manhattan to the Village. And in that one area, where now it's very shishi, it's like Hudson Yards or whatever hell they call it. But now you couldn't get through there. They had the trailers with what, and it was crazy that whole time. And it was tough as a comedian, but somehow We survived it. And I remember in my book, in Average Joe in the book, where I went to Catch a Rising Star and I said the wrong things to some gangsters, and I got the blank beat out of me, at the clubs. It was comedy back in the early 70s, and then I hit for by the grace of God, 1980 is when I went on Saturday Night Live. But I did 4.5 years, almost 5 years at those clubs, banging around, man. And I went pretty quick from 4 years in the comedy clubs right to NBC. But again, it was tough on NBC. It was safer. You had security guards at NBC. But what a wild ride. No one has written the book, Pat Brosnan, about that. And I may be doing a film with my friend Arthur Lee, the life fact guy. You know Arthur Lee, right? He's the life fact guy. Great guy. I was telling him the story about the late 70s and comedy scene. No one's written a book about it. It's when comedy became rock and roll, when everybody wanted to be a comic. I pulled up to 44th and 9th after that catatonic stupor. I said, okay, I'm going to go and I got to try the comedy club. And so I drive through and I drive down a 9th Avenue and going, okay, there's the club. Oh my God, there's like 400 people waiting to get in. Everybody back then wanted to be in comedy, And you know what I did? I looked at that line. I went right back into the Lincoln Tunnel, went right back home. I totally chickened out, And then I had to turn it around. Yeah, I did. Then I turned it around the next week. And we went in there. By the grace of God, it's been great, man. It's been by the grace of God only. But I tell you what,
Great story.
wild rides, brother.
And it's so hard for anyone really who hasn't been there in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s to even have any understanding of just how. I tell folks all the time who are younger and don't really have context. Rent Death Wish, rent Mean Streets, and just because I happen to love it, you got to do the Pope of Greenwich Village. I know you love it with the Frank songs opening up Summer Way You're In. But that'll give you an idea of both how great the city was and how bad it was.
That's so true. You couldn't walk down 42nd Street. People don't know. You could walk down. You could be walking down 42nd Street. When you came out of Lincoln Tunnel, Pat Brosnan, police had nothing to do with it. It was just a mismanagement of the city, which I fear it'll get there again under this current mayor. I hope I'm wrong. You come out of Lincoln Tunnel
too, but I agree.
I'm telling you, and you come out of the Lincoln Tunnel. Remember, there'd be the ladies of the evening knocking on your window. There'd be a drug dealer, and it was all like wild. And they don't tell me about Rudy Giuliani, America's mayor. That guy came in and kicked major butt, man. Ray Kelly came in. Bill Bratton, you got to give credit to. The late great Bertie Carrick, the police commissioners of the NYPD.
Absolutely.
Did what they had to do.
The changing point was Rudy, and I'll give you a quick one. I was his bodyguard for a couple of years, as you know, and myself and my partner at the time, John Fleming, who has since become a writer, and now we call him Flemingway, Life Hemingway. So he's no longer Fleming, he's Flemingway. So me and Flemingway are with the mayor. He's not the mayor yet. This is just before 92 of October. He took it over from Dinkins in 93. And we pull up at Show World on 42 and 8. And we get out of the van. I said, Rudy. I said, Rudy, wasn't the mayor yet. Let's take a stroll up to 7th Avenue and just stretch our legs. We had come from Staten, Italy, as you know, Staten Island, and we were cramped in traffic for about 4 hours. So we're strolling up. So me and Flemingway looked like we stepped out of central casting for 2 Irish detectives. So they gave us wide berth. But Rudy looked like a U.S. attorney. Yes, he was. That's where he came from, the Southern District. So he gets hit, Joe, coming up on the northbound side of 42 and 8 to 7, right? He gets hit with methadone, coke, heroin, males, females, hairless Portuguese 10-year-olds, AAA, just everything, and needles, this and that. So we come back, we come up to 7th, we cross over, we come down the southbound side, we get back in the van, maybe 10, 15 minutes later. He says, this is going to end. It's exactly what he said. This is going to end. And he goes to Will Caruso. Will Caruso, they had the PBA from the back of the van, and we're hanging on like with satellite dishes, me and Flemingway, listening to what he's going to tell the PBA president. That was about, we're going to put together the NYPD, transit and housing as a unified response. And Rudy. Wow. It's his commitment, and man alive, did he do it.
Yeah, he did.
Just picture Rudy walking up in October. Right, it was amazing.
Right,
he came out of the gate like you cut his, you cut chains off his ankles. He came out Dickens was, lost in the breeze, perfecting his backhand with Out of Town Brown out in Queens. Clueless, right? Clueless what was going on in the city. And that was the change. You're right.
Yeah.
Great Ray Kelly, the great Bill Bratton, the late Bernie Kerrick.
Yeah.
And it's been a great team effort. And this guy, man, Danny, I fear, and I know you share it, we've had these discussions, that he will be fatal to this great city that we love.
Yeah, and his disrespect to the Catholics, the 3 million Catholics that are in New York City alone, him not showing up, not inviting any priests to his inauguration, and not even the new Archbishop Hicks, not even going and going to that inauguration of the installation, rather, of the Archbishop. And the Cardinal, inexcusable, just inexcusable. He just doesn't like Catholics. This guy did hate the evil we talked about. It's out there, and now it's right at Gracie Mansion. But you know what? We will prevail. We will prevail, man. And I think once Bruce Blakeman gets in as governor, everything will change.
Listen, Joe, I couldn't agree more. And the guy's a nightmare. He's a rattlesnake. But you know what? I do find that a lot of times good does prevail. And we have a lot of evil, but there's also a lot of good. This was amazing. Thank you for joining me on the show. It's been an amazing relationship, and I look forward to having you back on another time where we could maybe discuss when the towers went down and where you heard and the change, how that changed everything forever. But Joe, thank you. Have a fantastic weekend. Appreciate it. By the way, keep up all the great work. I'm tuned in all the time.
All right, man.
A lot of fun finished business, my brother.
I want to say congratulations on the show. And I know Frank Volpe's been working close with you. We got a great team at AM 970. Matter of fact, I say it nice and quiet because humility is the key, you know. He who humbles himself is exalted. But at AM 970 right now, especially with you on board, Pat Brosnan, we own it. I say, grace of God, by the grace, we're doing so good. And everybody's listening. We got great sponsors. And we got Pat Brosnan on the radio from the Batcave. Come on, it doesn't get better than this, baby. Come on now.
30 feet underground somewhere in Gotham in a nondescript building.
I love you, man.
Joe, the grist. This is absolutely great. Thank you.
Take care, Pat.
Hey, have a great one. And folks, that's it. The great Joe Piscopo. Okay, I've been waiting a while for this one. If you tuned in late or you missed any of it, please tune in on iHeart. You can grab us on a podcast, on Rumble or Spotify or any of the major stations. And we'll see you next week. And thanks again. Have a great weekend, folks.
Pat Brosnan, live from the Batcave, brings together America's foremost voices in law enforcement, intelligence, and national security for hard-hitting, fact-based analysis on crime, homeland security, and domestic counterterrorism. A highly decorated former NYPD detective and national security expert, Brosnan brings razor-sharp perspective and battlefield-tested insight to every conversation. For over 20 years, Pat Brosnan has been a trusted presence on Fox News, Fox Business, Newsmax, CNN, MSNBC, and Inside Edition. Uncompromising, unflinching, unblinking.